It's Martyn Green, Devon Fishing Guides. As some people know, I'm also a coach educator for the Angling Trust. So the purpose of this video is to help people with knots, but also it's going to be used within a continuing professional development module for Angling Trust coaches. So hopefully you'll find it some use. One of the things that people need to be able to do is to tie good, strong knots. Knots that are tied quickly, easily, and which will carry you through most of your angling practice. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to have a look at two of the best. One of them is the original Grinner knot, also known as the uni knot, and the second is what we call in the south the revised Grinner knot, and which is known in the north of the country as the reversed 3-turn tucked blood knot. Bit of a mouthful, so down south we tend to go with revised Grinner knot. They're both very strong knots. On the last test that I saw, the original Grinner knot came out with a knot strength of 91%, and the revised Grinner came out with a knot strength of 97%. So revised Grinner, slightly stronger, also has the advantage of being half of the size. Another factor for both of them is the fact that the tag end comes up level and parallel to the trace, so that there's nothing sticking out perpendicular like there is in the blood knot to actually catch the fish in the mouth when it takes. So there's nothing to put them off. They're good knots. The first knot I'm going to tie is the original Grinner. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to use a creel hook. They're not that expensive, but for a coach, they're absolutely brilliant. So as with every knot, first thing you need to do is thread your hook, your swivel or whatever onto your line. I'm going to take this end and I'm going to bring it back into a loop, making sure that I cross over both of the other two lines. So here, that's the loop, brings it back on itself and over the top. Next thing that I do is to bring this end around the doubled strands there. Just going to pull that a little bit smaller on the loop. I'm doing it with the bootlace, so it's nice and big to see. Now I'm going to wrap that around 5 times. So there's my second, there's my third, there's my fourth, and there is my fifth. So I've gone around that loop 5 turns. I now pull up on the tag end to start to get the knot tidy. If this was nylon, I would of course lubricate it. If it was in the sea, I'd probably use my mouth. If it's in fresh water, there's all sorts of germs and bacteria in fresh water, so actually I would have a pot of fresh water or a bottle of fresh water with you. Much more hygienic. So I pull up on the tag end first. That starts to form the knot correctly, and then a little bit of playing with it, bring it down, and you can see at the end you get a nice, neat and tidy small knot. Now on that one, if I was using monofilament, again, I would trim that quite close. I do have to tie my shoes laces up together again later though, so I'm not going to do that with my bootlaces. But that basically is your original Grinner knot. Hopefully you'll find it quite easy to tie. The secret is make sure that when you bring that loop back, you cross it over the 2 parallel strands of line. That can save a lot of problems later. The second knot I'm going to tie is the revised Grinner. So once you've threaded it on, I'm going to go 3 times, take the tag end, and I'm going to go 3 times around what would be your main line or your trace. I'm then going to bring this back, working top to bottom, and put it through the first twist here. Pull it up into a little circle. So we've got that shape now. And now what I'm going to do, again, working top to bottom, through that circle 3 times. So 1, 2, 3 times. I'm going to pull up on the tag end to start forming the knot. And then I'm going to pull down on the main line, another tug there, and just get it nicely bedded in. And there is your revised Grinner. Again, if it was monofilament, I would trim it very close. Tag end, as you can see, is pointing straight up the trace. So it's a very neat, very effective, very strong knot. Probably the one that I go to for most of my fishing. Personally, I think it's great.
Just a short video this time, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. It's much appreciated.